wrestling talk show, where today we're going to be reviewing Monday Night Raw. Kev, what did you think?
Yeah, it was okay. Last week was better. We discussed this before, but it's slowly getting there. I think it's slowly getting there. It's not massively improved, but it is improving slightly.
Yeah, I feel like last week was a massive step in the right direction. I feel like this week's was not as good as last week, but I think it was still a lot better than what it has been for the last 12 months. You can definitely see that they are gearing things back up now, ready for fans to be back in arenas. So I think there's some good signs there, and there's a lot of really interesting topics for us to talk about. Whether it's something good or bad, I feel like this week's Raw had a lot of different talking points that we can get our teeth stuck into and really discuss, because there's things that I'm happy about, there's things I'm annoyed about, but most importantly, and this is what the sort of things I love to talk about on our show, which is the whole reason why we set it up. I love it when something happens and I'm genuinely confused, because I can go, Kev, what are they doing? I've done that. Do you know? And there's a few things that I am really confused about. So if you don't mind, can I start off with the first point? I've got it all written down here, like I always do. I've written it down in order of it happened. As soon as something happens that I want to talk about, I just have a little note. So where is Randy was the first point, which is obviously right at the beginning of Raw. And the reason why I'm confused is I genuinely thought that there was nothing wrong with Randy Orton. I thought that they was pushing Riddle. I felt it all felt like they were showcasing how good Riddle was. Obviously, he won the over the top battle royal at the beginning. Then he was wrestling in the triple threat against AJ and McIntyre for Randy, and if Riddle won, Randy would be in the match. And I thought Riddle was going to win it for Randy. And then when he didn't, and again, you was right, McIntyre won again. You called it, but I am confused because now, when Raw ended, I went back to my original feeling. The very first thing that I wrote down: where is Randy? What happened? Why wasn't he there? Why did he get pulled from the triple threat?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that confused me as well, really. But yeah, I don't know. He just they made an excuse that he forgot his flight. I'm wondering whether that's going to play into a storyline, whether it's Riddle's fault, and because he's now using his finishers and his music, and I'm wondering whether it's going to play on Riddle's like the heel in this, and not the face, and we're going to have a turn later on with Matt Riddle, where he's saying, "I'm Randy Orton," all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I was very confused why he wasn't there, and there was no sort of. I mean, when Raw started, it was full. The ring was full up with guys, and then we cut straight to them backstage, and yeah, I was just confused why Randy Orton wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly my feelings. It was Riddle, and again, we don't know if that was the reason why he wasn't there, because Riddle's aloha, this is the Viper, Riddle being idiot, which I found that so funny. His comedic timing is brilliant. He's so good at it. He's a very special talent. You can feel what you want about him. Very public, him cheating on his wife, and apparently Seth Rollins doesn't like him because Seth Rollins. I mean, I don't know if anyone watching. I don't even know if you know it. Seth Rollins waited for Becky Lynch to become single for years because he was madly in love with her. But she was in a relationship with Cool Hand Luke Rockhold, who was an MMA fighter. And when they split up, they got closer. They got, started spending a lot more time together. And he ended up getting his girl, if you will. Seth Rollins isn't the sort of guy to just go putting it about. And where he was in a relationship with Zara in Chains. And she got sacked over it because she was. I mean, she leaked like nude pictures that he'd sent her and stuff because she was bitter when they ended. But she was cheating on Seth, and then when Seth ended it, he was single for years, and he basically just hoped and prayed that one day Becky would get single. And when she did, they ended up getting together, and now they're getting married today.
I think they've already got married, haven't they? Didn't they get married this morning, I thought?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I just know that the wedding was obviously postponed because of COVID and that it was happening today. But what I'm trying to say is Seth is not the sort of guy that Riddle will work with, because all Seth has said on it is that he never wants to work with a guy like that, because apparently Riddle wants to be liked, and I think Orton can see a lot of himself when Orton was that age and was younger in Riddle, which is why he took him under his wing. But I think apparently Riddle was like going backstage and turning around Seth and going, "Hey, you'll never guess what who I shagged last night, and I've had her and I've had her and I've done this, I've done that. Oh, have a look at all these birds that are messaging me what in this, what in that. I've done this, I've done that." Seth Rollins would be like, "You're a dick." He's not that sort of guy. He's not the sort of guy that you go to and is like, "Oh, I'm sleeping with 10 different girls all at the same time at the minute." He's not that sort of person. So
yeah, I think that's why Randy took him under his wing, because he could see what was happening.
Yeah.
And said, "Look, I've been there. I've done that.
Yeah.
I'll guide you." It could be, I mean, it's really strange because it's the same reason why Triple H took Randy Orton under as well. So when Evolution started, obviously Hunter saw Randy and said he's got something, but he's a little bit wired. He's a little bit of a wild child.
Yeah,
I'm going to tame him, and he's going to be really good. And now look at him, and and now he's taken on that role with Riddle as well. So yeah, it's all good.
All come full circle, and I think Riddle being the way he is has rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way, because I mean, AJ Styles was on Corey Graves' After the Bell podcast a few weeks ago, and AJ told a story about his son. His eldest son was backstage with him months ago, and Riddle and AJ was having a match that night, and Riddle had come up to him and said, "So in our match tonight, AJ, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Blah blah blah." And then he walked off, and after Riddle left, his AJ Styles' son turned around and said, "Dad, he really talks like that." And he's like, "Yeah, that is what he's like. That isn't a character. That what you see on TV, that's Matt Riddle. Like, that's just the way he is. Whether there's a camera on him or not, that's just the way he is." And I think a lot of people, I found him irritating and stuff. But whether you like him or not, as a human being, as a person, you can't not like this character. He's funny. He's different. He's entertaining, and he's amazing. I absolutely love him. He has everything, and I mean everything that you need to be a top superstar for this company, because he has the it thing that we keep talking about. He knows how to get himself over. He knows what works. He knows what doesn't. His promos are always brilliant. His comedic timing is always on point. He's hilarious. Some of the things that he comes out with, so funny. And then he gets in the ring, and some of the things that he can do are just mind-blowing. I really love Matt Riddle. What do you think of him?
Yeah. He's got it. I think it's very early days though. Let's see how he goes. I mean, he's not won a title yet in WWE, so let them put the title on him. Maybe. Well, no, he's won the US belt, I believe, hasn't he? Saying that, I think he won the US belt.
Yeah,
he did. Yeah.
Sheamus took it off him. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see how he goes with it and stuff like that. See how this Randy Orton thing, because I think this could be the making of him if it goes very well. And I think that he needs to turn on Randy and I think that would be excellent. I think if he can turn it and show that he's got this darker streak to him, I think he'd be perfect.
Yeah, he needs to show that he's diverse and is capable of being a babyface and a heel, because there are some that can't. I mean, they tried turning Naomi heel, it didn't work. Every time they tried turning Natalya heel, it didn't work. I think Bayley, as good as Bayley is, I think it took her a long time to really learn how to be a heel.
Yeah. When she went from the hugger to what she is now, Yeah, it was one of those things where you thought she was always going to be like a face, and then she turned to a heel. She cut her hair look short, and yeah, it worked. And the way they did it, it works really well for her as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What else happened on Raw? Go on.
Well, like I said, I've got it all written down in order here, so it'll probably be easier. So the next thing was I've got to mention it. You're gonna love it because I know you like it. Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
I mean that had me and Nat in bits where she went, just call me the arse. AASH. Almost a superhero.
Do you know what? This is just echoing. If you watched obviously WWE in 2003, you would know about the Hurricane and Rosie.
Yeah.
And he had a very similar slang. I think it said shit or the shit or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like a superhero in training sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it came across as like shit. And it was like the funniest thing. But it's very similar. But I think that will take off more with live crowds. You can see the way she comes out, much like the Hurricane did at the side, where he used to go like this, and she comes out and does this, and it's just pandering to the crowd. But obviously, there's no crowd at the minute, so I think when the crowds return, we'll see it a lot better.
2 weeks now. We're 2 weeks off live crowds. You know,
2 weeks.
And I've got a point to make that is will be, you know, quite poignant for a lot of people that are watching, but specifically for me and you. You've got 2 little girls, right? I've got a little girl.
Yeah.
What little girl is not going to love Nikki Cross?
Yeah.
That's
what they
want.
Yeah. And it's the same. You got to think it's the same with the Hurricane. He used to come out. He used to have a mask. He used to give it to a little kid in the audience. And the thing was that probably was originally their plan. Oh, we'll take the Hurricane character, make him a superhero. Superheroes are really good at the moment, and the kids will love it. But what happened is that everyone ended up loving it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they stay with this with Nikki Cross and they progress with it, and it does some good. And I'm hoping that it pushes her up a little bit.
I think it has already, to be honest, because now her character's interesting. I agree with you. Look, like, I don't want to sound too deep, but little girls need a role model. They need something to look up to and something that, you know, like I would look up to Shawn Michaels and stuff when I was a kid, and The Rock and Stone Cold, people like that. Little girls are going to go, especially obviously my little girl's not even 2 yet. She's 2 in a few weeks, but your 2 little girls are at the perfect age where they're going to absolutely love Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
And it is important. I mean, of course, WWE aren't looking at. We're looking at it from a parent's point of view. That we're going, you know, if your daughters turn around and Dad, I love Nikki Cross. She could have a worse role model to look up to and be inspired by. You know, yeah. I think it's it's fantastic, and I just want to say as well, that's one of the best that she's looked in the ring for a while as well, especially since she's come up. She looked really good. She's clearly lost quite a lot of weight. She's got herself in really good shape, and I thought she moved really well. I thought all the little edges looked crisp. A movement looked crisp. Nothing felt slow or sluggish or where she was just a little bit behind timing wise. Everything felt bang on it, and I was really impressed. I do think Shayna deserves more though. I think
definitely.
We're happy that Nikki Cross is going that way. We also need to go, well, Shayna Baszler's going that way, because she was incredible on NXT. They brought her up. She bit Becky Lynch, and then she went into the Elimination Chamber and dominated it, and she was amazing. You thought, this is the next big thing, and she's just slowly become almost like
the problem is I think Jericho said this on his podcast as well, that he said in order for one to go up, someone has to go down. And obviously he was talking about AEW and that, but it's the same sort of thing. You know, if Nikki Cross is going up, then who's going down? And at this point, it looks like Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
I do think that Shayna needs a bit more of a push.
Yeah.
I think she now needs to get rid of Nia.
Yes.
I think separate now, you know, and let them go separate. But yeah, I just don't. I mean, they've still got yeah, I also want to say as well, just before I go, Nikki Cross has got new music, and
Yeah,
so has Alexa Bliss. But yeah, I think the Alexa Bliss thing is also playing in the background there
yeah,
as well. So
yeah. And my only other point on that whole section, that whole segment, was where is this going with Alexa? Because it's difficult to kind of path it like as a fan, and I find that interesting. Where is he taking this? Because I mean, Alexa's just coming out and she's, you know, lifting a hand up, and then Reginald's lifting his hand up, and then she's doing it to Nia. It's difficult to really know what the direction is, where they're going.
I also want to point out as well that lots of people hate that, right? Absolutely hate, right? But they've done that similar hypno thing with people like The Undertaker,
Yeah, yeah,
Papa Shango, all these sort of characters, and you kind of think, well, you love these characters, so what's the matter with her doing it? Because we've had this before where they've been in a trance. I think the Ultimate Warrior was in a trance once as well, and he threw up and all of that. And the people love those characters. Yet when it's done now, I just want to get your thoughts on this quickly before we move on to the next thing. Don't you think that now it's cool to not like WWE? Like it's got to a point where, oh, WWE shit. Yeah, well, it's cool to say that. It's got to a point where cool to say that. You know what I mean? I don't know where you feel on that, but I feel it's almost good or cool to say that WWE shit. You know, you could go, oh, that's like that. Well, that's cool to say that. You know what I mean?
It's driving me insane, to be honest. Do you know what? You know, if we ever get monetized, Kev, please forgive me because we're about to be demonetized. It's fucking pissing me off. It's really pissing me off because you're right. You're absolutely right. It's now the cool thing to be hating on WWE. And people are going, oh, look how shit WWE is. What? Because AEW has been fantastic for the last 12 months. Oh, no, wait, that's been shite as well. Because football is nothing without the fans. Wrestling is nothing without live fans.
Yeah.
It's nothing without live fans. Every single time, like Edge coming back and attacking Roman Reigns. It was 5 days ago. Well, did that have the impact on us that it would have had if there was 20,000 live fans there going apeshit? No. Because it's not the same when there's not a live crowd there. You don't feel it because when you hear that pop from the crowd, me and it, by the way, well done England, get in there. But watching that game yesterday, that was beautiful. As a football fan, if you're a football fan, that is the most beautiful sight we've seen in a long time when it comes to football. Because yesterday, forget England winning, of course, England winning and beating the Germans for the first time in 60 years is always great. But like when the goal went in and seeing all of those fans jumping on each other and the excitement and the passion, we haven't had that for nearly 18 months.
Yeah.
Seeing that, you know, because when there has been a couple of thousand fans allowed in, well, one sat there, one sat there, one sat over there, one sat over there. That was 40,000 fans all sat together, all bouncing off each other. And when those two goals went in, the eruption and the
it was the same reaction you got when Edge debuted at Royal Rumble, and the crowd didn't know, and they went mad.
Yeah, I mean,
but
you just remember the guy that the camera always goes on when you hear you think you know me, and the camera flips right onto the fans. The guy, everyone around him's jumping up and down, going mad. What I love is the guy right in the middle who was that emotional. He's not even got it in him, so he just goes, yes! He's not even got it in him to start jumping about because he's just that shocked by it that he's just like, my guy's back. The guy that I loved as a kid that I never thought I'd ever see do this again is back. Like, in going back to wrestling, with fans back, things will be special again now. So, back to your point, people that want to... AEW is this new toy, right? It's this new cool toy that everyone now wants to protect AEW. AEW is the best, and WWE is now for losers, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
The thing that gets me is that with that is that go, oh, I really hate WWE, and there they are sitting in a WWE t-shirt and something else. You know what I mean? It's a bit like, no, it's just cool to say that. It's just cool to say that. It's cool to say WWE is shite. You know, fair enough. If it's crap, we'll call it out.
Yeah,
but I'm still watching it every week. I'm still enjoying wrestling as a whole. I'm not disowning it because it's WWE, but I do find that a lot of people tend to hate on it. You know, a lot of these people that go, "Oh, I really hate WWE. AEW's better, and AEW's this, and Impact's that, and all that." I'm never watching WWE. You know for a fact that they are,
yeah,
and you know for a fact if you're a wrestling fan, you got to think, right? WWE wrestlers probably what they do watch AEW, and it's the vice versa. We've got to get to that point where we've got to love wrestling as a whole and not just go, well, I'm not watching that because it's crap. You know,
exactly.
it's just
Exactly. I only watched WWE. I've never watched Impact when it was TNA. I've just never watched it.
Yeah, yeah. I watched TNA, and there was a big, I can see very similarities in AEW for that because TNA was a little company to start with. Then Dixie Carter come in with a lot of money, and then we had like Hulk Hogan, Sting, Kevin Nash, Ugly Boys, Kurt Angle, all these people coming into it from WWE, and it was the same conversation that a lot of people are having now with AEW. Oh, they're just having WWE rejects. Oh, we're just doing this. So it's not just one side; it's also the WWE fans as well. But all these conversations that we've had, oh, they're redoing this. Oh, WWE's crap. We had it before when TNA was big, and we'll see. No, I've always said this when AEW come out originally, I did turn around and say, everyone was like, "Oh, do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad?" Give it 5 years.
Yeah,
we'll see what it's like in 5 years. You can't say that it's good or bad in 2 years. There's no way.
AEW's first show was a really good show. It wasn't, incredible, but it did have that feel of us watching wrestling when we were kids. It felt more like an Attitude Era.
Yeah.
It had that violence. It had that aggression. It had that no holds barred. Everything's allowed. You can feel that the wrestlers are allowed freedom, that they're allowed to go out and create and be inspired in the moment and do something creative off the cuff. And not everything is overly scripted the way it has been in WWE for the last few years. But then Jon Moxley debuts, and it just brought on a whole new different. Now everyone's like, AEW is now everyone's new favorite thing. But my favorite one is NXT, NXT shit, Raw shit, SmackDown shit. WWE has been shit for months. This is bad. That's bad. This is bad. AEW is amazing. I won't watch. I won't watch WWE shit. It's like, but how do you know that it's shit though? Because you're saying that you're not watching it, but then you've just told me that you didn't like this, you didn't like that, you didn't like that they turned in. Yeah. So you clearly are still watching it. Then you just like it as it's become everyone's favorite thing to go WWE shit, AEW is better, and it wasn't like that.
It's become very cool to say it's crap, and it has been. We'll call it out. If it has been wrong, we'll call it out.
Yeah, it has.
But I'm not disowning it because it's crap. I've watched Arsenal for years, absolutely years, since I was a little boy. And sometimes I come out. I used to be a season ticket holder at Highbury when it was at Highbury. That's how long ago it was. And sometimes I used to come out of games and go, they were shit. That was absolute dog shit. But I would be there the following week watching it, supporting my team and chanting on, regardless.
Exactly.
There's times when you go, oh, that was the best football I've ever seen Arsenal ever play. And there's other teams like, sack them all, sack the manager, it's all shite. But the following week, I'll still be watching it, regardless.
Exactly.
And it's the same company. So it's the same with wrestling in general, actually. I can't just around and say WWE, but
yeah, it is. It is.
But it's almost cool to say. I remember. Do you remember when obviously all the signs were up, Wenger out, Wenger everywhere, right? About out in Arsene Wenger and stuff like that. And it became cool because I remember seeing the out Wenger sign in WWE, but also at other sporting events. And it sort of took on its own little cult following, but it became cool.
Yeah.
Have that sign, and I think it's the same with WWE. It's almost become cool to mock them, to do this, that, and the other. But I just find that it's just a bit of a cool thing to sort of go, I don't watch WWE, it's crap. I watch AEW, and that's cool. No, it's cool to say WWE is crap. Let's face it, it's not. AEW isn't that fantastic. If you watch it and you compare it, yeah, it's got bits where you like, yeah, they've obviously got the creative freedom. They're obviously doing a little bit better, but ultimately, there is still parts of it where you go in, especially with just going off topic here, especially with the AEW women's division, it's shite, absolutely shite. It's crap. So you can't turn around and go, it's a good product. Well, what about the women? Where are they? It's crap. And everyone said that right from the very start. They've always said that the women's division on AEW is the worst.
Yeah, but because they don't care about them.
No.
Like the whole basis of AEW's product, and I don't give a shit what anyone says. This is my opinion. Whatever you think of AEW, they base their product. Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes, their idea of what they wanted their product to be like was 90s WWE. Was the Attitude Era of WWE. That's the feel that they want to produce with their product. But what did the 90s version of WWE do with women?
Nothing. Yeah.
They were for men. That was it.
The problem is, I think, as you get older, you've grown up. Say if you've grown up in the Attitude Era and you've seen all of this stuff, you look at WWE and you do say it's gone soft. But when you look at some of the stuff that they did in the Attitude Era, you think you'd never, like in a million years, get away with that now, ever.
No.
Like making a woman bark like a dog, getting her down and barking like a dog, and all that sort of stuff. And back in 2003 as well, they had like Teddy Long and Mark Henry teaming up and coming out and saying that the white man was keeping them down and they didn't give black people enough credit. Imagine if they did that now. Jesus.
It's just,
yeah, exactly. And the blood and guts went because WWE is a family product. Let's not beat around the bush. AEW is not a family product.
No, it's for adults.
It's for adults. So, yeah, I mean, I've said it before. Years ago when we felt that Roman Reigns was being shoved down our throats, as an adult wrestling fan, we fucking hated it.
Yeah.
But if you went to a 12-year-old kid, right, and you go, who's your favourite wrestler? No doubt they would turn around and say John Cena and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Right? And they were like, I love Roman Reigns. I love John Cena. And the adults were like, we hate them. They keep getting pushed down our throat. We absolutely hate them. Why are they doing this? Well, just look beside you with your kid, because they're not doing it for you or us. They're doing it for a family. So you can go around long and enjoy it, and the kids can get right into it. And they're going to love people like Roman Reigns and John Cena. Where I think we get more. I think as you get older, you get more cynical as well, and you long for the olden days. And sometimes when you look back, you think, actually, it wasn't that good anyway. It wasn't. It was shit as well. There was some good bits. I mean, when you look back, you go, oh yeah, there was some great bits. Rock and Austin, Triple H, and then you go, well, what about all the other people? What about Just Incredible? What about Rhino and people like that? And then you think, what about Perry Saturn? Now, when Perry Saturn was about, they did a whole gimmick for Perry Saturn where he had a mop, and he used to cart it around. He called it Moppy, and people used to break it, and everyone sort of like, it was a comical thing. I think everyone hated it at the time. But when you look back and you kind of think, well, that was a bit shit, but everyone loved it. Do you reckon they should bring that back now and all this sort of stuff? So yeah, it was just off topic, but we've gone completely off topic. But I just wanted to point that out.
It doesn't matter that it's off topic because it's a good point. Because I think you're right. Like, and I think we're victim of it as well. I know for a fact I'm victim of it. I'm fucking better in the 90s in the Attitude Era when I was a kid. But that's because 28-year-old me is looking back at the 8-year-old me, and that 8-year-old me would love things that I wouldn't love now. But also, the way that memories work, you only remember the good bits. You don't remember the shit bits.
Yeah.
Your brain works. You remember the good memories. You remember Rock Austin. You remember Shawn Michaels and Triple H. You remember Dick. You remember all the bits that used to make you laugh and the bits that, you know, made you go nuts as a kid. Oh my God, Kane just come out and chokeslammed him. And, you know, you remember all that. You don't remember the bit that if we was watching that now, we'd go, that is shit. That is really bad.
Yeah, and there was lots of it in the Attitude Era. There was lots of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of gimmicks that worked, and there was a lot of stupid gimmicks that didn't work.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, as we become older, we're sort of seeing it through our kids' eyes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's a different era as well. So you've got to think that a lot of stuff now you can't say or do, but back then it was quite acceptable to have blood on every week and stuff like that. But nowadays, as a family, you want to sit down. You want to watch a bit of wrestling. It's a bit of fun. The last thing you want is, you know, you're seeing blood and guts every week. I mean, that's why they stopped it in WWE, because most families want to sit down and watch this as a family and not see pissing amount of blood everywhere. And I don't think that makes someone either. I want to just point out something as well, is that everyone criticised Britt Baker on AEW, that she was shit, that she had done this. Then she went into this really good match, and she got busted open, and she was wrestling. And there's those famous pictures of her in a chokehold with blood pissing from her, and everyone's like, she's the best. And I was thinking, what, just because she bleeds? You know, I'm sure most people would say a whack to the head and blood to come out. I'm sure most people would, but that doesn't make her any better. You know what I mean? And that's what I felt anyway. That's what I just felt about it. I don't think Britt Baker is the top. Let's put it that way.
No,
and that match was a good match. Let's not point out it was a good match, but I think a lot of people got more hyped about it because she cut herself, and everyone's like, "This is what women's wrestling is." No, it's not. But anyway,
no, I agree.
But yeah, when you look through things through your eyes when you're younger, you pass over a lot of the crap.
Yeah, you do.
And you remember it. And WWE also play into this as well, because they only give you the good stuff.
Hey.
Right? They don't play any of the crap.
At the same time, when CM Punk was champion, when we all think about Punk and the infamous pipe bomb and how great that was, I bet most people have forgotten about the Bleeding Spirit Squad, aren't they?
This is what I mean, yeah. Yeah.
No one thinks about how fucking...
I remember the Spirit Squad, yeah. Kenny Dykstra, Dolph Ziggler as well was part of the Spirit Squad.
But mate, when you look back at the Spirit Squad, you cringe then. When I actually seen you cringe then when I said Spirit Squad, you went, oh yeah, Spirit Squad, remember? Oh my God, they were shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But people don't mention that. Oh my God, CM Punk was the guy. Oh my, I wish WWE was like this now when Punk was there. But there was a lot of shit when Punk was there, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah,
you know, there's no other way of wording it. It has become the cool thing to just shit on WWE. It became the cool thing to boo Roman Reigns. It became the cool thing to boo John Cena. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna boo Roman Reigns and say you can't wrestle because that's cool. But do you actually believe that, though? Because if you actually are standing there telling me that you think Roman Reigns can't wrestle, and you're a fucking moron, because he clearly can't wrestle, whether you like him or not is a completely different matter. If you say, I can't stand Roman Reigns, fine. There's been times where I haven't particularly liked him either. There's been times where I've slagged off how bad his promos are. There's been times where I haven't particularly liked things that he's done, or that I found that he's done poorly.
Yeah.
But say that the guy can't wrestle because he quite clearly can.
Yeah, and it's the same with John Cena. I mean, at one point, like you were saying, everyone booed him, everyone hated John Cena, and he left. And then when he came back, he got one of the biggest pops ever. And I was like, "Whoa, hang on a minute!" Everyone was just saying, "Okay, you're crap," and now they're praising you. You know, Brock Lesnar was the same. I mean, everyone sort of liked him when he first come up, even though he was a heel. Then he went to a face. Then he went to a heel, but people still loved him. And now, I remember when he came back, when he first came back, people went crazy. And now it's almost like, oh, Brock Lesnar again. And it's like, it's almost become a little bit cool to sort of say, fuck Brock Lesnar. Though I do think that he should be a full-time wrestler. And I do get why a lot of people dislike him for the way he does stuff. But at the end of the day, I think when you turn around and say, you're going to watch a Brock Lesnar match, let's not point this out, right? If Brock Lesnar's on the card, you're going to watch it, regardless of how long it is or how crap you think he is. It's sort of like, well, come on, then, we'll have this 5-minute match. Let's see what Brock Lesnar does. You know, even though we like hate him, we can't stop watching him.
I've done a full 180 on Brock Lesnar, and it's a great point, mate, because I fucking hate this guy. Who does he think he is? You know, he's got the belt and he turns up once a month, just jumps and jogs on the spot while Paul Heyman talks for him, and then he pisses off, and he's been paid $1 million. What a prick. Get rid of him. But then you've got to actually sit back and think, well, hang on a minute. Whose choice is it that Brock has the belt? Is that Brock's or is that Vince's?
No, it's Vince's.
It's Brock. Do you know what I mean? Like, Brock, no wrestler, it's not their choice that they have the belt or they're in that spot. They're given that by their bosses. That's the way the world works. That's the way life works. They're told.
You can tell that as well. Just to point out, you can tell that as well because there's a clip. You can find it. It was played on WWE as well, where Brock Lesnar wins the Universal title, and he comes back through gorilla position where Vince McMahon is, and he launches the belt at him.
Yeah.
Now that says to me that he was told that he was going to win it, but he didn't want to, and they've told him, and he's just gone, I don't want that piece of shit, and he's literally thrown it at Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's like stormed off.
As Brock Lesnar walks off, you hear Vince go, "You fucking asshole."
Yeah.
Because if you've seen what Paul Heyman said about it's probably the only time that you know for a fact that Paul Heyman isn't working, because it doesn't matter whether Paul Heyman sat on a park bench and someone sticks a camera in his face. You never know whether what he's saying is the truth or not, because he's just that good. You just never know. Yeah. But one of the few things that you absolutely know was, do you remember when Brock had to destroy Dominic Mysterio?
Yeah.
And that was like the first time Dominic had ever taken a bump, and it was Brock Lesnar that, you know, was ragged on about. And Brock basically said to Ray, because it's his dad, and Vince, do you want me to do this? Because this kid, if I don't want to do this is a young, inexperienced kid who's never been in the ring with anyone, never mind me. He said, the way I do it, I'm going to fucking throw him. I'm not just like, I do what I do. If you want me to suplex him, I'm going to suplex him. And it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do this? Because Brock didn't want to do it. And they was like, yeah, he'll do it. And he went back and he did the same thing. He went ape shit at Ray and Vince, because like he could see how much pain Dominic was in. That really hurt Dominic. And Brock was like, I warned you. Like, this is a kid that you've thrown to me and told me, like, he can only do what he does. And I think that's why he isn't a full-time wrestler. I've been one to slag him off more than anyone, but do you know what? The guy has anxiety problems. I have anxiety problems. He's not there all the time, because I don't think his mental health can handle it. I don't think he can be there every week, because I think his anxiety is too high. It's why he doesn't like people. It's why he doesn't really. He's got a very, very small group of people. He's got a very small bubble that he only ever allows a few people in that. You know, he's a very private, personal person, and he doesn't like, you know, talking to people really, because he has really bad anxiety. And to be fair to him, you know, at the end of the day, he has a lot of other things going on. He runs a wrestling school. He's got other projects that he does. So the time and money, he comes, they pay him $1 million because he has a private jet that he has to pay for the fuel, he has to pay for the jet, he has to pay for the pilot, and he'll fly to the arena, film whatever he needs to film, and then jump back on that plane and fuck off and go back to his life, to what he's actually, you know, passionate about, what he wants to do. As awful as it sounds, he doesn't do this for us, the fans. I don't think he cares. I don't think he ever has. I think he does it for one thing only, money. Yeah,
exactly. If someone's going to offer you £1 million, you're going to take it and do it regardless.
Kev, if someone turned around to you and you said, I'm really busy at the minute, well, I'll give you $1 million for your music to hit. You walk down the ramp, you jog on the spot for 20 seconds, for 2 minutes, while someone else does the talking for you. You walk back up the ramp, straight back onto your plane and back home. I'll give you $1 million. What are you going to say? No.
No, exactly. You're going to go, yeah, regardless. I'm sure, right? You say that, I'm sure if Vince McMahon turned to, like, if Chris Jericho ever left AEW and Vince said, I'll give you $1 million to come back, Jericho would be there in a fucking second. You know it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Jericho, I'll pay you $1 million per appearance.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going off a little bit topic. Let's get back to Raw.
Right.
So what else you got written down?
Right. So the next ones I want your opinion on, and I'll give mine. The Kofi, Kingston, and MVP promo.
Yeah.
MVP's promo was brilliant. I think he's underrated, to be honest. MVP, I think he's very, very good on that mic.
Yeah.
Very. What is your opinion on Kofi's promo?
Yeah, good. And there was a lot of. I think they that wasn't scripted. I felt that wasn't scripted. And he made some really good points as well. Like, you know, he got injured and he's like hobbling around. You know, he's there all the time, and you know, where's Bob? Yeah, I get. Do you know what? I get it, because he was saying that Bobby Lashley wasn't there, and if he was a champion, he'd be there every week like he was before. And I feel that some of that wasn't scripted. I felt that came from the heart, and that's what you need.
I think it's probably the best promo Kofi's ever done, because I've never been a fan of Kofi's promos. It's unfortunate he doesn't have the right voice, and that is not his fault. We both love Pete Dunne, right? We both love Pete Dunne. His promos never sound great because of his voice. He doesn't have the voice for it. He's got a very high-pitched, nasally, brummy accent. He can't help that. He can't help what his bloody voice sounds like, but his promos never sound good because of the type of voice he's got. The Indian guy that they brought in to do the commentary, I can't remember his name now. He was only obviously there a couple of months. He did not sound right. I hated it. He didn't have the right voice. Kevin didn't even know what a simple move was called.
I know.
That's called a choke slam. It's like a move that's been around for like 50 years, and you're the head commentator on Monday Night Raw, the biggest wrestling show on the planet, and you don't know the name of a choke slam. I mean,
I think that's why they got rid of him.
Whereas they've obviously now brought Jimmy Smith in, and yeah, he does, but he's learned very, very quickly. And now the first 2 or 3 episodes of Raw he did, you could hear he wasn't using the wrestling terminology and the lingo that Graves would use. But Graves he was on
NXT though, wasn't he? He was commentating with NXT a few times.
But he's predominantly known for his commentating on MMA. So the names of all of the different moves, he didn't know them, and that's fine. He's learning very, very, very quickly. But when you listen to him, he has the right voice for it. Do you know? Yeah,
definitely. But Kofi, I think Kofi. Yeah, I think you hear right there. I think it was probably one of the best he ever done. Like I said, I don't think that was scripted. I think that's something that maybe MVP and he came up with.
Yeah,
definitely. Because it seems more real. But let's see how this pans out. I don't see Bobby dropping the title.
I'd be stunned. Yeah, I'd be stunned.
Let's see what happens.
Right, next, I've just put, I don't understand. Kevin, what are they doing with Doudrop?
Fuck knows. Don't know, mate. Don't know. I got no idea what's going on there. Now they're sort of friends again, but she's got the evil eye on her. So I'm wondering whether, now I did wonder this when I watched this, I'm wondering whether they're using Eve Marie to push Piper.
Hopefully.
I don't think her name, whatever you want to call it, do drop or whatever it is, I think that's not permanent. I think that's what Eve has given her. And I think eventually it will come down to some sort of, because I mean, they had the match, and she went to tag, and you could. I mean, even my wife said it. She goes, she's going to turn and tag her because she was in a chokehold. And my wife goes, I bet you Eve jumps down and goes, no, I'm not tagging you, right? And I knew that was going to happen. And my wife said, I bet you then she wins.
Yeah.
And a few minutes after saying that, she squashes. Let's not beat around the bush, man. Piper Evans squashed them two.
Yeah.
Like completely ran through both of them. Regardless of what they got off, Piper Evans ran through both of them and pinned both on her own.
Yeah, I mean, and let's just, not beat around the bush either. This was Naomi and Asuka. This wasn't the icon. This wasn't, this was two of the best that WWE have.
Not only pinned Asuka, she squashed Asuka really quickly as well. So I'm wondering whether they're using this as a stepping stone. They're using Eve to step Piper up because she hasn't gone to NXT. She's come from NXT UK straight to Raw.
It's a massive, massive jump up. And do you know what? She isn't that experienced either, mate. She was only on NXT UK for a few years, and she's, the UK doesn't have an indie scene the way that America does, where Finn Balor, went to Japan and Mexico because there isn't that in the UK. He had to at 17 years old, he had to go and travel the globe because we haven't got an indie scene set up here the way there is in Japan and Mexico and America. So they've brought her up very, very quickly with not much experience, but she's a very, very talented girl. But again, Kev, I've got to beg the question to you. Again, I've got to ask you, why have they brought Eva Marie back, paid her double what they were paying Ruby Riott, got rid of Ruby Riott, who's 10 times better than Eva Marie, to just shit on her? I
don't get it. I don't get it. Unless WWE make money from her, I don't get it. Because you've got to think, if they're going to pay her that, they have to have something back.
Unless she sells merchandise, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see as it pans out. I'm hoping that... I almost had this thought the other day. I'm wondering... It was actually the other day I was cooking and I was thinking, I'm wondering whether it's a decoy, whether she's this crap, right? And then she's going to have this sort of match where it turns it around, where we kind of go, whoa, we weren't expecting that. She's actually she's got a lot better. And I'm wondering whether they're gearing her up for that because she went away. She's done now. I remember before she turned up in WWE again, she was training like hell in the ring because she posted all this stuff on Insta and that. And so we knew she was gearing up to come back. So I'm wondering whether she's playing on the fact that she's rubbish.
That'd be amazing. That'd be really cool. Let's hope. But at the minute, I have no idea what direction they're going in that. But it really is a wait and see because at the minute I'm so confused. But like I was confused with where's Randy, but that's a good confused. That's what the bloody hell's happened there? That fit because even Adam Pearce said Randy's here for unknown. Randy's not here for reasons beyond our control. They didn't give us anything. Like something has clearly happened there, and we can speculate, and that's cool. This with Eva Marie and Doudrop, I have no idea what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense. Where they're going with it? I can't see where it's going. So let's hope it's good. But next, I really want to talk about Ricochet. I'm sure whether you've watched Raw or not, if you're a wrestling fan but you've not had a chance to watch Raw yet, but you're active on Twitter, you will have seen Ricochet's crossbody to John Morrison because it's been everywhere.
He disappeared.
I
know. He was sitting there and he just disappeared. And I was like, where'd he go? And you knew he was going to get counted out. But yeah, I mean, that is just... I think now they've gone out and he's gone, right, we're giving you this chance. And Ricochet has gone, I want to showcase everything. Everything that I can do. I have only tapped, but I want to go out there and blow up and see what happens. He's killing it.
Wrestling now. Just use his wrestling. Figure out his character later. If you say to Ricochet, you can go out and you can do whatever the fuck you want in your match, us as fans will go, so what, he's boring. So what, he can't do, so what, his character's not great. You can't take your eyes off him when he's wrestling. That crossbody, I'm going to call it now, that is the best crossbody I've ever seen. The height that he got, but the amount of force that he hit John Morrison with was incredible. That was nuts. But
and the fact that John Morrison wasn't laying, he was sitting upright,
no,
and he come across him like this.
but he was sitting on the wall as well. Like he
Yeah.
sit on the wall. Ricochet's had to jump up, land on the top rope, and then propel himself off. But he can't propel himself off that way. He's had to kind of like jump down.
Yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely. That's it. But to be able to control your body, to jump
In
up,
that way.
but then as your feet hit the top rope, naturally your body's going to spring off that top rope and come back up. How he controlled that to then arc down perfectly and land perfectly in line for a crossbody, that is insane. It shows his talent. Rey Mysterio said 4 or 5 years ago that the best wrestler he's ever been in the ring with is Ricochet. Now, this is Rey Mysterio, who's wrestled them all. That is the biggest compliment Ricochet will ever have. And I want to see him now show what he can do. But speaking of his personality, me and you have been very critical of his promos not being very good and him not being able to get himself over personality-wise. He finally did that this week, because that where he was squirting John Morrison with the water gun and then Miz. John Morrison was really good. He's good at that. The Miz is an expert at that. Is an expert with scenes like that. It makes everything look good. And it makes everything funny. His comedic timing again is incredible. But that finally got Ricochet's character over. He was funny. He had personality. He was taking the mick out of John Morrison and the Miz. And it was funny. And the way that he squirted him and then did this stupid little little childish giggle and then ran off. Like, finally, like, there's a bit of character there. There's something that you can go, he's funny, I like him.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you go and watch him in the ring and he hits the best crossbody you're probably ever going to see. And you're like, who's this guy? You know, and we need to keep pushing this now. We need to keep seeing more of this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
The next point, and this is really is a big one, because this will probably take another 5 minutes, mate. So I'm sorry, we're definitely going over an hour. But you know what? Who gives a shit? I don't. Rhea, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke versus Charlotte, Natalya, and Tamina. Meh. The match I don't want to talk about. What can we talk about in terms of that match? What was there? It was nothing there. You know,
my daughter said, right, you know when Rhea and Charlotte were sort of scrapping in the ring.
Yeah.
She said it looks like a Saturday night at closing time outside the pub, and you've got these two girls, right, and they've just had too much to drink, and they're fighting and it's almost like my daughter sat there and was like, it's almost like they're scrapping. They're like pulling each other's hair, like you bitch, like this. And we couldn't stop laughing because she was talking over it. And I was like, that's brilliant, because that's exactly what it was like.
It was like
they're rolling around.
He was mine. He was flirting with me all night. Took him.
Yeah, you bitch, you took him, you bitch. And I'm pulling. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It was like, it was like closing time at the local pub, and it was just funny. But it was pretty meh. But that segment was like, they're pulling each other's hair. They sort of, it looked like a proper girl fight at the pub. Pardon?
Which daughter was it that said that?
It's Holly, our oldest daughter.
Yeah, well, Holly, give yourself a pat on the back, because that's a great way of putting it. Yeah, that is exactly what it was like. Two drunk, middle-aged women fighting over a man. Like what it looked like. Yeah. But the talking point that I've got here, and it is, in my opinion, a really big one. It's probably the biggest discussion and debate. And anyone that is watching this video, please put in the comments and let us know whether you agree with me, disagree with me. This, for me, is something that I think definitely needs speaking about, because I've actually kept my eyes on Facebook and Twitter and no one's mentioned it. So, Mr. Kilford, can you please explain to me how Charlotte is winning that match with a big boot?
It's the same way. It's the same reason how they have a DQ match when someone goes through the table, the announce table.
But do you know what pissed me off the most about that? Charlotte has 3 finishers already, right? She has 3. So she will hit them with the natural selection. If they kick out of that and that doesn't end them, she then elevates it to the spear. If that doesn't take them out, she then does her figure eight, and that usually finishes the job. Like, how disrespectful. And I know that it was Mandy Rose that she hit it with, and at the end of the day, should have never have beat Rhea Ripley with a big boot. We get that, but what does that say to us as viewers about Mandy Rose, that this woman has 3 finishers? She hit you with none of them. She hit you with a half-assed big boot with no run-up. It was a standing still boot. That move, do me a favour after this, just go back onto your recordings on your Skybox, go back to Raw and watch the end of that match. You watch that big boot and you tell me, after all the years of wrestling you've watched, whether usually you'd even go for a pin off that. You wouldn't. It was the sort of kick that you'd do as like a counter to get your opponent on the ground, and then you would go on to a next move. That would be to set up the next phase of the match. This fucking boot finished the match, and it's like, what are you showing us about Mandy Rose that she's being beat off a move that is, let's say it as it is, let's call a spade a spade. That's a transition move. It's a move that you hit to just get your opponent down. You're now back on top. You regain your senses, and then you go again. That's what that move is. It's a transition move. It's a way of having a few seconds of a breather to allow you to then regain your control and stamp your authority on the match. That's the finish. I'm absolutely baffled. But if she's hitting two, why couldn't she have hit the spear? That's one of the finishers.
I don't know. I don't think, it almost seems like Charlotte doesn't want to be there or isn't interested. I don't know. It just doesn't seem. I hope that this Money in the Bank match is it for them, and they both move on, because I've had enough of it, to be fair.
Yeah.
Same week, same in and out stuff and all that. But yeah, next, let's have a look. So what we've got next.
Yeah, I really like Jackson Riker's new character, this deranged. I'm really, really happy that because even on NXT, do you remember when he was in the Forgotten Sons on NXT?
Yeah.
Well, the group was the Forgotten Sons, right? Well, he was the forgotten one of the 3 of the Forgotten Sons.
Yeah.
It was never used.
No.
The other two would wrestle. He just stand ringside. He was never involved. I don't get it. And then, yeah, obviously, that's a big win that against Elias as well. I actually thought it was a really good, really violent strap match as well. I know it was only short, but what they did in that 5 minutes, I thought was really good, really well timed, really well executed from both of them. And I think Jackson Riker looked great. I think he looked really nasty, really.
Yeah, he's very good. I think this is what pushes him, maybe.
I hope so. But then we need more human. This is what I've said a million times to you over the last 3 years, mate. R-Truth again. He's never used anymore, R-Truth. He's never used. How funny was he backstage with Jackson Riker?
Yeah.
You don't see him for 2 months. He's on screen for 30 seconds and you're laughing your tits off at him.
Yeah.
Well, we need more of that. We need more characters that you can just throw in there for 30 seconds or say something and it's funny. And it's, at the end of the day, it's world wrestling entertainment. Yeah. We need more of the entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I totally agree.
We've only got one more point, mate, and that's the main event. What was your thoughts on the main event?
Really good.
Yeah.
I thought it was a decent main event. That was a decent main event. We had, even without Randy there, and you had Riddle, I'll tell you what, he went and he actually showed that that's his level, that he can actually toe to toe with Drew and AJ Styles. But yeah, that match was awesome. That match was a really good put on. Though, like I said before, and you'll probably say I'm a mind reader. I did say that McIntyre would win that and he would go on to Money in the Bank. I still think he's going to win it, but we'll see. Like I said, at the moment, I think the only way to get the belts off of Lashley or Roman and still keep them looking strong is for a cash in. I'm hoping, because we haven't had a cash in at a Money in the Bank for years now. So I'm hoping that whoever wins it, they do the Money in the Bank at the start of the show instead of the end. And whoever wins it cashes in straight away. Like I said, I can't remember the last time there was a cash in at whoever won it, cashed it in on the same night, if you know what I mean. And
Ambrose did it a few years ago.
Yeah. So, yeah, I want that to happen. I want there to be a cash in on the same night. That's what my hope is, because it's the only way of getting the belt off of Roman and Lashley without them looking weak and to keep them strong.
Agreed completely. But I've got to say, man, I think you cheated.
Why is that?
Because I think Randy Orton, I'm sticking with this until the day I die. Randy was supposed to win that match, but you bleeding kidnapped him, didn't you? Huh? we said at the start of this show, where's Randy? You've had him, you've nabbed him.
Oh, so he's in the cupboard.
Yeah,
he's in the cupboard.
Right, you stay in there with the bleeding voices in your head until McIntyre wins, and then when McIntyre wins, I'll let you go. No, do you know what? Again, you called it. Even though you were right, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna stick with my guns. I'm very, very disappointed, and I hope he doesn't win it. But why have him in it if he's not gonna win it? Doesn't make the fact he's now in the Money in the Bank ladder match. He wins the match, in my opinion, and I think that's the wrong direction to go. You're going to ruin him. Already, the majority of people that I speak to and that I know, and you're very much the same, you've already told me, already the majority of people are getting bored of having McIntyre thrown down our throat the same way Roman was. So give him something. Why not get him in a rivalry with Sheamus? Don't even have him winning the belt. Just let them have a great rivalry. Have him not involved in the title picture for the next 12 months. Then let him have another shot. Why are you giving him 7 title matches in a row and then going, right, Hell in a Cell. If you lose, though, Drew, you're not getting another chance at the belt. He then loses. That's all right. We'll just stick him in the Money in the Bank and let him win that, guaranteeing him another title shot. Not boring. We're bored of him at the minute. So have him on the show and have him have really good matches. Give him really good opponents that we can go, he's good McIntyre, isn't he? But when he's not forced upon you, when he's not thrown down your throat, when we're not being told as fans who they want us to have as champion, not who we want as champion, that's where this is the whole Daniel Bryan thing all over again. We're like, this is I don't want Batista, I don't want Randy, I want Daniel Bryan, and enough fans, got behind it, and eventually the miracle on Bourbon Street happened. But it's going this way with McIntyre. We don't want McIntyre because for the last 2 years, you've thrown him down our throats and you've used him in every single segment of Raw, and you've even sacked people because you've been looking at the books going, oh, he's not been used on TV for ages. He's not been used for... Yeah, you're sacking people because you're not using them on bloody TV because you're having Drew McIntyre's face every 30 seconds on it. Is in every single segment.
But yeah, I the only reason I say he's going to win is, one, I think he's the most likely. 2, it gets round the thing of facing Bobby Lashley. And also as well, he's also said, and he's made it very vocal, that he wants to be champion when crowds return. And I'm wondering if that's a payoff. Vince McMahon has said, you've carried us through the pandemic and you've done an excellent job. We'll take the belt off you, but I guarantee you'll get it back when the crowds are back. So you can have that reaction, the reaction you should have got originally.
And that is so shit, because if he'd have won the belt at last year's Mania, the pop he'd have got, the excitement off the fans would have been insane. It'd have been nuts. It'd have been amazing. But that was 12 months ago when the fans wanted him as WWE champion. So if Vince has gone, we want to give you your moment. I think us as fans want him to have his moment. You can't get that back now because of your overuse of him over the last 12 months. This isn't a fairy tale. This isn't, you're not gonna have him cashing the money in the bank on Reigns or Lashley, have him win. He's not gonna get the reaction that he'd have got 12 months ago now because we're bored of him now because you've ruined him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if that's the plan, if they're going, and I agree with all your points. He has carried them through the pandemic. He's been incredible. He's been excellent throughout the whole COVID pandemic, and he's kept things ticking over. He's kept things going. It's been amazing for them. But he's been thrown down our throat. He's been in every single segment of Raw for the last 18 months. We're bored of him now. So you saying we want you to have your moment, we want you to get that pop off your fans. Well, what if he pins Reigns or Lashley and all the fans go, boo, this is shit? Well, he's not got his moment, has he?
No. I think they have to do it carefully. But we'll see who is in the Money in the Bank on SmackDown. Maybe there's going to be someone there that we go, oh, actually, maybe they're going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the moment, as it stands, I can't see him not winning it, if you know what I mean. He always seems to come back. When you think he's out, like in that match, the main event here, he was taken out, and it was AJ and Riddle, and there were spots in it where you kind of think, when Matt Riddle had AJ on the floor, and McIntyre, he was prancing around in the ring. It's like, what are you doing? Cover him. Stop mucking around. You're giving other people other time. And AJ was the same. He was sort of like checking where he was. You had Riddle in the ring, and he was like, well, where's McIntyre? Don't worry about him. Cover him.
Exactly. I just want to say.
I was also, so it made me think, like, they wanted him to win. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. But like you're saying, he's the biggest name so far. Let's not beat around the bush. He's the biggest name in the match so far. And I don't know. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it pans out. But
I just want to say as well, Moon Over Miami and Lee Titley both said hi in the comments. So hi guys, thank you very much for tuning in.
Hi, guys, yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah,
thank you very much for watching. We are grateful. But yeah,
I just don't. But yeah, I just don't get it. But I've got a funny feeling that they want him to have his moment. I think, like you said, I think he wanted this moment. It was going to be big. Coronavirus hit and it wasn't. And I'm thinking that they are still Vince is very high on him. So I've got a funny feeling he's gone, look, we're going to give you your moment, but we have to go through these loops first to build you back up. So when that happens, but like you said, I almost think like a lot of people would be like this again, and have gone slightly off him because we've been McIntyre. And I think it's like once you've had it done, that's it. I think you've lost the sort of appeal. So, you know, yeah, I know it's wrong, but I think the only way to get a big pop like that is for him to disappear for a while.
Yeah.
And for him to come back surprisingly and like, oh my God, he's actually back. He's not been on WWE TV for like months. And have that bigger pop, but because he's on it all the time. But then, like I said to you a couple of weeks ago, and we mentioned on the podcast, who steps up? Who steps up in that place? I don't think it's Kofi, but
no, I can't see. I think what's frustrating there is there are other people that you could have got.
Oh yeah.
Lashley, and you know, what about Priest? Damian Priest, I think, has done really well since he's come up to Raw. Why not have Damian Priest? You know, as Lashley's next.
They're holding him back, I think, Priest, but
yeah,
I'm hoping they push him slightly.
But I think there are guys that well, maybe it's just me. You know, maybe it's just me. I've never been a big Kofi fan. I think the it thing that we always talk about, he hasn't got the it thing for me. In the ring, he is unbelievable. He's an amazing wrestler. But I feel like with his character, there's something missing that I've never been able to really grip to, that I've never really been able to get behind him. I love watching his matches. I think he's a fantastic wrestler. But I've never really been all in on him. And maybe it's that, but I can't see Lashley and Kofi, and I can't see it. Like, it doesn't, to me, look like the sort of match that is going to make either of them look good.
No. I mean, they should have had. I think they should have had Sheamus.
Yeah, Sheamus, Lashley, great.
I think Sheamus is the one because I think he can push it, he can take it, and he's a big guy as well. And I think that, yeah, he's. But I'm wondering whether they think he's too like McIntyre. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, he's got the same height. They've got that same sort of attitude. They work well together, but I think visually they look very, very similar. You know, both in trunk, both big, both muscly, can both move in the ring. But yeah, I'm just wondering whether that's why. But yeah, I would have maybe Sheamus come up, drop the belt to someone, maybe even Priest, drop the belt to Priest, open it up a little bit, and move Sheamus up.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Do we actually know when the draft is? Is it after SummerSlam? The draft?
I think I don't know actually. I think it's in July. I think it may be after SummerSlam. Yeah.
What makes sense is maybe the Raw after SummerSlam is the draft.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a big shake-up now with the fans back. There's a lot of things that they need to change. I think everything needs freshening up. And if you're really serious about having NXT as a third brand, have it as a third brand. So have stars. Don't just have stars from it. Don't go, they're coming up from NXT to the big leagues, you're going down. Because let's have it right. Many would argue, and I'd be one of them, and I know you're definitely one of them. Is NXT taking a step back in your career, or is it actually taking a step up in your career? Look at Finn Balor. Finn Balor went back down, and he's looked the best he's ever looked.
Yeah, so definitely.
NXT for the last couple of years, for easily the last 3 years for me, has consistently been a better show and a better product than Raw and SmackDown. So
yeah, definitely.
Have the guys that are doing well in NXT that are ready to, you think might be ready to bring up to Raw and SmackDown, have someone from Raw and SmackDown that aren't being used as much go back or go to NXT, rebuild themselves.
Well, we'll just have to see how it all pans out, I suppose. But we're going to leave it there.
Yeah.
We're coming on for over an hour now. But yeah, we'll leave it there. We'll be back on Sunday to discuss NXT and SmackDown, obviously.
Yeah.
But we're just going to leave it there. Thank you for listening. I've been Kev.
I've been Dan. See you next week.
See you next week. See you Sunday.
Yeah, see you Sunday. Yeah, bloody hell.